How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Let's Try. And in today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at a little bit of a different style of game. It is called Hardspace Shipbreaker. So you perform the role of effectively a salvager who works out in space for a company to break apart ships. Pretty straightforward. However, there's a bit of a catch. We are indebted to this company to then pay off our debt. We have to then work for this company almost indefinitely. It's definitely similar to indentured servitude. So there are a couple different game modes we can kind of take a look at. So there's no revival, one life, no second chance, just one and done. Limited, get some leeway, get a little bit of revives, the whole measure twice, cut once. Standard, unlimited lives. However, this is kind of your, sure, you can die as many times as you want, at a cost. And, you're on the clock, time is money after all. And then, of course, open shift, where there is no timer, we have no oxygen drain, and it's going to be purely relaxing. For this episode of Let's Try, we're going to be playing OpenShift, but of course, if you decide to play this game, or if you want to see me play a playthrough of it, I'm probably going to play on standard, and we can play through the kind of little bit of a campaign I believe there is. So for this, we're going to play OpenShift, and of course, oxygen drain setting, right? So there is oxygen, we do have to be mindful of that. And again, for the purpose of this, we will turn it disabled. So as you can see, OpenShift allows players to play at their own pace. Please select below if you would prefer to use standard. And so you can still play OpenShift if you do want that oxygen as a challenge. So prefer oxygen drain will leak if you crack your helmet. Right, so we're going to disable it, and we're going to head right on into what hopefully will be our first and last ship. So that way we can become free from this greedy company. Humankind has industrialized much of the solar system. Earth has deteriorated into a place of squalor and decay. In orbit, a new breed of worker has emerged, the Shipbreaker. The labor is extremely dangerous, but for a select few, the hazard pay is worth the risk. Keyword hazard, because there's a lot of it. This is definitely this style of game that is incredibly relaxing, and I highly enjoy and highly recommend anybody playing it. There is some interesting in-game lore that they have, which makes it fun. Shipbreaker application paved the way to the Galaxy program. Update on your application status. Let's view this update. Did we finally get accepted? Are we employed? Greetings, citizen LF291180S. Congratulations! You have been accepted into the Linux Corporation's pioneering Pave the Way to the Galaxy program. Your selection was based on the above average physical and cognitive ability. Cool. Yeah, it looks like we're going to be assigned to a salvage station. Ooh, we have to have a name. Require an account name. Please enter an account name below. Profanity or anti-corporate slang/jargon is not accepted. Well, I guess we'll go with our standard ravaged. Let's see. Selected revival package. Open shifts. Spares unlimited. Spare fee. Okay. Then, of course, here we have different voices we can have. And orientation. We're just going to go standard. Proper settings may improve productivity by up to 40%. I don't know if that's a statistic they pulled actual or if that was some just in game, but as you can see, they do have some fun with it. This is a very relaxing game to play. I always enjoy games like this where I can take a break from an FPS or take a break from an RTS and kind of relax just overall and kind of play something really casual, and this is that type of game. Our food processors serve a variety of diet. Let's go chicken. Chicken sounds good. Maybe plastic free. I'm gonna go with plastic free. I don't want plastic. And what's really funny is I have no criminal record in the Terran or Martian zones. A record in the Jovian frontier is acceptable. That's funny. I am not a member of, and will never be associated with, a workers' union or other labor interest. I've completed my annual medical exam and have been cleared of having McCulligan's lung. I have no commercial or real estate interest on Luna, the Belt, or in the nation state of Arizona. Interesting. So it sounds like in this universe, Arizona is its own thing. Curious why Arizona isn't Florida, didn't become their own nation state, but I digress. If somebody's from Arizona, please inform me why you became a nation state in this universe. I'll bring a positive attitude and problem-solving mindset to work every day. Yeah, I do that at actual work too. I understand and accept the health risks. Oh, to Van der Waals. I'm curious. I wonder if that's a real thing. If this is a real physics thing, let me know down below. I would love to look into it. I mean, I'll probably still look into it after the fact, but definitely that is something. Let me know. I'll vote for. It feels like a little solicitation. It looks like I can't uncheck it. And of course, this is again, this is just playing the game. If you wanted to, of course, you probably go through and read some funny things. I like when game developers hide things in their game, but it's not really even hiding it either, right? They really kind of play that whole immersion card. We don't need training. We got this. We don't. I don't know. I feel like we don't see this enough in games where they put little interesting tidbits of lore or just really good immersion, even just for a casual game like this, right? It's no AAA studio with this massive budget for development with all this crazy stuff. This really is one of those gems that I think does a good job at just being just a solid casual game. I like it. I feel like there's not enough games like this nowadays. Like, come on, you're not gonna see this out of a modern title. I feel like that's developed by any number of the AAA studios. I feel like you're gonna get a half-budget cutscene that, quite honestly, is crap. This is pretty good. Like, I mean, this is really good. I don't know. I feel like it's just such a simple reprieve from the normal games that I think everybody plays nowadays. It's like just the right amount of puzzle with just the right amount of casual, and you can play it as like challenging and or as simple as you want, which is something that is just amazing. So of course here we have a little bit of a cutscene kind of highlighting some of those things we're gonna see here in a minute. So this is gonna be us. You can of course cut sections of panels of the wall out in our little docking bay here, and as you can see, you can cut it out and you can rip it down and then send it over into the furnace, right, to be basically scrapped down. And that's kind of your goal. Is each mission or each ship, your goal is to see how much you can salvage off the ship. Technically you can salvage 100%. Now I'm using salvage as the very broad term for counting everything that we can sell for money, everything that can be recycled, and everything that can be like just destroyed because it has no value. So technically you can 100% from stern to tail, from aft to starboard. I'm not a ship person. I don't know the names of the sides. I believe port, starboard are your left and your right. Then you have your aft and your stern. Right? I believe those are your 4 terminologies. Guess we'll listen to this dialogue for a second.
His vision eventually brought us the railgates. Now spanning all the way to Jupiter, these are the veins connecting all of modern civilization. And the people flowing through them are its lifeblood. The railgates reinvigorated humanity and are key to our continued progress. You've been selected from among thousands of candidates to join the Lynx family. This is more than just a job. It's an opportunity to be part of the largest, most successful, and most pioneering company in human history. Your dream may be to forge your own destiny one day. Well, work hard, heed your superiors, believe in the Link's vision. Do this, and you too will get your chance. Your first step is to join our EverWork program, the greatest gift we give our employees, turning death into an ongoing opportunity for learning and growth.
You know, I hope Amazon and other large real-world companies never develop that sort of employment slavery, because yeah, that just seems not fun. It gives me Borderlands vibes, though, not gonna lie. Death is a fresh start. Now I'm getting Subway vibes. I don't know why. Yes, I want a fresh start.
Video observation complete. To finalize
Onboarding. Your genetic sequence will now be...
for use with the Link's EverWork
Oh, that's
asset
nice.
replacement program. Don't worry, pain levels during extraction are largely tolerable.
What? Excuse me? They're what? Tolerable?
Of your employment agreement, the process of genetic extraction will destroy your original body. Beginning extraction now.
Wait. So what it sounds like is the original me, the current me, is dead. However, now the clone me lives on? That is some wild shit. But does that mean, like, my brain, like, are they gonna move my brain to the new body? So, like, I continue living, or is it just, like, the embodiment of me, right? But not actually me, or the current me, right? I don't know. Some deep thinking right there. Congratulations! You are now safe to die. Shipbreakers are responsible for the cost of the biomaterials used. Oh, this is some sketchy shit. And, of course, now we have all our fees. Report check, the medical analysis. So as you can see, it effectively is, yeah, just getting this job was expensive. We have everything from medical analysis. They literally charged us to get to work. Hell, they charged us to select our seat. Passenger toll, luggage handling, including 35% gratuity, automated onboarding, lifeguard. Oh, biomaterial refrigeration. That is actually probably some of the most expensive stuff on this list. Equipment setup. A setup. And some other stuff, some more stuff. Habitat. Jesus. Training. Meal prep. Annual waste management human premium. That's the entertainment library fee. Tracking implant fee. They charged you to know where you're at. Salvaged rights fee. Good lord. Display a fee. What is it? They charge you a fee to display the fees. That's fucked. That is a sign of being prepared. Okay. Then I think most of us in America are doing it spot on. We're all prepared, I guess, right? Linux salvage. Links? Is it? Yeah, it's not Linux. I don't know why my brain is thinking Linux. It's Links. Pretty sure it's Links. Yikes. I'm wondering if I'm wrong 2 times in a row. Surely that won't happen, right?
Clear and sunny, with a high of -270 degrees.
Well, that's fun. New message received. New ship. 2 new ships, it looks like. As the most common ship, like cargo, station hopper, our ships are simply the best. Recent safety reports are wrong. Why does that sound like every upper management ever? On behalf of my former colleague, we apologize for fuel efficiency. In fact, oh, okay, that's nice. So what it sounds like is this thing is a POS. And reminder, progression clearance hazard level 2 is committed to ensuring we're only exposed to the hazards we need to be. Interesting. Oh, credit deductions. That's nice. And of course, a bunch of different emails. So there's definitely tons of lore you can get into and tons of reading. We're going to kind of skip past some of this just so we can get into the actual ship cutting. So here we have all of our different like equipment, and we can see all that in here as well. So we can see all the laser cutter, grapple, thrusters, scanner. Right, so as you can see, there's a lot you can get into. You can get into just how things are decorated, your bed, some kitchen things, employee terminal. That's where we saw all those emails. But we, of course, are going to go ahead and start our shift and get into breaking down one of these. So, at the start of a job, you can, of course, see all your debt, which we have in a lot of. Let's see, 100,000 million. We have 1.2 billion. And, of course, some tokens. I'm not sure what the tokens do. I don't remember seeing those. It has been a minute since I've played some of the more recent updates. So as you can see, each ship has a hazard level, they have a mass, and they have a value. So we can see what would put the biggest dent in our debt. So that one's 5.3. That one's 5.5. So we're going to do this one. So we can, of course, see the hazards. We can see any core systems there would be. We can also see here the different levels as well. So we have value, we have this. So let's jump right into it. Looks pretty good. So we're gonna start ship. Head on in there. So we don't have a time constraint, and we don't have to worry about oxygen, so we can stay out here in space for as long as we want. As that bar at the top is how much we have progressed at breaking it apart. So when you're here, you have, yeah. So we have effectively 3 areas for things to go. So we have the furnace to destroy things. We have this to sell, like reuse things, and we have that to recycle things. So like an antenna, for instance. So if we head close to this antenna, so we can grab it off. Then we can knock it down there. Cool. So then at the top left, you can see, okay, an antenna for 58,000 credits. Pretty good. And then the bar at the top moved a little bit. So as you go through, you can kind of remove things. So usually these things at the top are fairly easy to move. The mechanics here. And we press F to kind of shoot it off. So then if we press T, we kind of move into basically like X-ray. So we can look at all the different joints and what's holding this thing together. Now before we start cutting into the hole, it's important to check to see, is this thing pressurized? Because it has the physics to explode if we cut into it. Now, luckily for us, it is not. So we can enter safely and see, okay, well, this is not pressurized. We can, of course, still look here and see if there's anything that's going to tell us. Now, we don't have systems or objects unlocked yet, so we don't get to see any of that. But we can see, if we look at this item, it says barge. Well, that barge is the green thing down below. And for instance, if we look at, say, this, the structure tells us furnace. And then, say, we look at this plate right here, this tells us processor. So that tells us where it needs to go. It also tells us the value. So for instance, we're under a time crunch. We're trying to get the most value. We can kind of look around and say, okay, well, this is going to be worth the most. This nano carbon is going to be worth 33. Oh, but this panel is 84. And we can just rip it off. Look at that. And so we're going to shoot that down there. Right, and so then we might be looking for all the easy things. And same thing here. Maybe we're going to look at this nacelle. Or I say, okay, well, this is going to go to the barge, but how do we remove it? Well, one thing we can do is we can use a laser cutter. So then see how it turned red? So gray we can't cut, red we can. So we can either cut it like that, heat it up, and it will vaporize. And the larger the item is, the more mass it has, right? So mass moves mass. So the larger it is, the harder it is for us to just move it, or rather push it. So we can go ahead and laser cut this. We do have to hold it for a second. Then we can go ahead and grab this.
Applying credit to account.
And we can go like so. And then hopefully that will go all the way down. And if it doesn't, what we can do is we can just drag it and kind of give it a little bit of a send off to tell it, okay, go down there, and it should continue going there. And of course we can look here and say, okay, well, where does this go? This goes all to that. So let's go ahead and cut this joint here. Sweet. Cut this joint here. And see how it says processor? Well, what we're going to do is we are going to completely come and rip it off. And we're going to send it there.
Object processed. Transferring credit.
Oh no, we got vaporized. So that's what happens. So we got too close to something. So you do have to be careful where you're at positionally. And so on one hand, you can play this really, really casually and really, really laid back and just have fun. Jam out to some music and then just really enjoy your run. Or you can go really hardcore into it and really have the time challenges you have to worry about. But notice, spare replacement, we died. Oh no. So we go through.
All right. Breathe. You okay?
And of course it will talk about how
Don't sweat it. Happens to the best of us. Always good to review your spare replacement form. See how you can avoid future mishaps. Too many spares. will
that
wind
is
up
true.
dead, and that's how they get you. Okay. Let's get back to work.
Yep. So it does cost you credits to respawn, so it is ideal that you don't die. And so as you go through, you'll unlock more things and salvage some things. So let's just try to get up to that tier 1, and then we'll probably call it there. So it's important to look for different things, but then if we swap modes on this, we can actually get this cutter where it will instantly cut it. If we keep looking, we found that. Let's see, is there any more? I think there was one more down here, right? Yes, yes. And they do get angry if you accidentally put stuff in the wrong spot. So for instance, if we put stuff down on the barge, it won't accept it. So if it doesn't go on the barge, it won't accept it. However, if we put things in the furnace that shouldn't have been put in the furnace, it gets mad at us. So the way I kind of do it is, yes, it tells us where things go, so that massively helps. But I just put everything in there, into the salvage, because if it's worth nothing, it just tells you 0. It doesn't get mad at you. It just is like, hey, buddy, you're kind of a dum-dum. You didn't put it in the right spot. And luckily there is one on both sides, so we can just go boop and boop it off. Alright, so let's find some things that are worth some more. I think this stuff is worth a very good amount. Okay, so let's head down. It does take a bit of getting used to the controls, so you can move yourself around. Part of it, I think, is just you have to get used to kind of thinking in that three-dimensional space, and how there is no like up or down. You just kind of have existence for a lot of things.
Valuable object processed. Credits awarded.
Okay, let's grab that fender as well, throw that in there. Awesome. So it looks like we've gotten pretty much all the easy stuff from around this, from the outside. So let's take a look and see if there's anything in the back. Let's see, because sometimes, yep, we get these engines, so we can't pull it out. So we're gonna have to figure out, okay, well, how can we remove it? So let's go ahead and get our laser cutter. Let's go ahead and cut that bolt. Let's go ahead and cut that bolt. And then we take it out. Now, a couple things to note that are going to be somewhat important is there are going to be little puzzles as the ships increase in difficulty. So for instance, you might eventually get to a point where you have to turn off the gas to the reactor, or you have to turn off some sort of leak before you can go cutting and doing all sorts of other things. Did that go in? Yes. Okay. And of course, all your stats are going to be at the bottom of your HUD. So you have health, fuel, you have the suit, and you have O2. So that just lets you know, hey, how close on things are you before you have to go resupply. And the resupply is going to be over there at our little kind of our hut where we live. So we can come in here and we can say, okay, let's go ahead and do some cutty bits. As you can see, you can do multiple cuts as you go about it, which helps to try to line them up. Now, you don't want to hit things that are going to explode. We are in space, and those things are usually not good for our health. But notice how we cut this pylon, but oh no, we wasted some. So that's where we don't want to go willy-nilly with cutting around. And so that's where the precision one is going to come into play, because we're only going to cut the thing we have to cut, or rather the thing we need to cut. And so then this is where, okay, we're going through and cutting all these because we already know that we're fairly safe to do it. It's going to make sense. So then we can go through. Wow, but oh no, our tool overheated. That's fine. We just need to rest it. It does get a little bit bright, so I do recommend if you have any sort of photosensitivity, obviously play a game like this at your own risk with that, but decide if you need to turn down the brightness. Because I personally, if I'm playing this game late at night and, you know, I've already kind of strained my eyes for the day, I definitely would recommend turning down the brightness for you, because this can get quite bright as you're doing any sort of operations like this. So as we can see, so now we have a panel that has become free. So we're just gonna send it over there. We want to make sure that it gets in there. So there are gonna be some things on there that go to the furnace, but that's fine, because we'll see here in a sec how it breaks everything up. So it's gonna yell at you and say, okay, well, some things aren't accepted, right? But that's gonna give you, okay, well, these things are accepted. So you should try to break it down as much as possible. You can't move the whole ship. I don't know what particularly decides that it's anchored. I don't know if it's just a mass thing. So notice here how there's a repair kit. It's a pickup. We can, of course, however, decide, okay, well, we're not actually going to pick that up. We're going to send that to the barge. It won't actually get sold. But notice we hit goal 1, which is pretty solid. So you can decide, okay, well, you know what? Now we're done with salvaging. I think we're going to move on to the next ship. But for us, we are. But you could always decide, hey, you know what? I want to keep going. I want to keep salvaging, see how close we can get. Sometimes, though, you want to be careful. So, like, little things like that are floating away. I mean, in this case, it does go to the barge, so that's good. But you can sometimes find that an item might wander off into space, and so you might get like 99.9% of the way done. I haven't seen if they've quite fixed that, because I know that was a bit of a problem trying to hit full completion on a ship, is if like an item was just hanging out somewhere in space and you quite couldn't find it. But notice here how the ship is kind of leaning. So these, for the most part, can go over there. But notice that light. I bet that light's gonna go on the barge. What do you think? Comment below if you think this light's gonna go on the barge. So I'm pretty sure it is. Yep, it's a barge light. Where does this thing go? Here. And boop. And boop. Right. We're gonna send that wall in, and of course we're gonna head over to our little home. Awesome. So we did make pretty good progress on that ship, but if for whatever reason you decided, you know what, I feel like we did enough on this ship. We hit our goal. We earned enough for our time. But those will be things that if you play under a time trial or something, you'll definitely see that. And you'll also just kind of get a feel for what ships you can do pretty quickly. Okay, so let's enter our habitat. Yes, we want to end our shift on that little ship. Of course, here we can see what everything we salvaged. We were able to salvage 23.8% or 1,327. We see that there's a remaining 4,000. Well, 4.2 thousand. English hard. 1.3 million is how much we salvaged. 4.2 million is how much remains. And of course we can see the breakdown here. So we can see that, okay, well, we got quite a bit from that thruster cap. That was worth a lot. So going forward, you can kind of make a note of, okay, well, thruster caps are going to be worth a lot. Now, just like when we were in the actual game and seeing the ship, it did give us that kind of price breakdown of, okay, well, these things are worth a fair bit, but this definitely also just helps visualize it, right, as a whole. And of course, you can see here the different levels of things, and it tells us we get a repair kit here. And it also tells us how much we've destroyed, so there is kind of both bars slowly competing. But notice our debt slightly went down, yay! Of course, we can see our certification review, and up here that tells us how much we're ranking up effectively. And of course, we can end our shift. So this is a very interesting game. I highly recommend picking it up if it goes on sale. I really think it's worth looking into. I don't know, it's definitely just a creative, casual game that I think everybody would enjoy. It's definitely a reprieve from those FPSs that everybody plays and just other genres, you know? And of course, here's that kind of immersion of daily fees. Well, we had to pay for the regeneration fee. We have interest, of course. Nightly genetic backup, can't forget that. Base lease, or bay lease, right? Because we have to pay for it. You'll get it for free. Salvage transport. Have rent. Of course, we got to pay rent. We got to pay the utilities. Cutting tool, right? Because we don't own the tools. We rent them. We rent the suit. And, yep. And all that thrust we use. So, of course, that fee totals here. We made this much. So, really, we didn't make that much. We only made about half as much. So, as you can see, it does eat at your profits. So it does help to want to fully salvage. But yeah, so with that, hope you guys enjoyed. Well, of course, hit save. If you guys want to see me continue kind of a playthrough of this and our goal to burn off this debt, let me know down below, and we can, of course, turn this into a full series. Otherwise, you guys know what to do. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Consider subscribing as it does help with the channel. It is free. Turn on the little bell notification so you don't miss out on any future uploads, any posts, and any of that fun stuff. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns for me, leave those down below. And if there's a game you would like to see me put in this series, also comment that down below and I'll take a look into it. If I already own it, then great. If I don't, then I'll probably wait till a sale and pick it up and we can explore it then. And as always, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Goodbye, guys.